If you can take out all thoughts, all ideas, right now, if you could just take them all out, what would be left? If you couldn't think about what you have been, what you will be, what you're going to be, what you're not, what you shouldn't have done, what you're proud of that you've done, what would be left? What's left right now if you don't have any of these ideas about yourself? So maybe you have an idea that you should be the way someone else is, or you should be like Ramana, or you should be still. And they appear now, these thoughts, and they come with an energy, they come with a sensation that you shouldn't be the way you are, you need to be different. But if that just disappears momentarily, what else is left? What else is there? So whatever idea is appearing, whatever feeling's appearing, that's not the truth. That's just what is seen. So there is this presence, this knowing, this aliveness, so this sense of being that knows form. So it knows thoughts, it knows emotion. And you take yourself to be that which it knows rather than the knower. So there is this knowing, this sense of presence, and in that appears a thought or an idea that you need something or you should be something, and that comes with a feeling. That feeling feels like it's in the body, and then there is this movement that happens that takes that to be who you are, that you are that which is appearing rather than the one that is experiencing it all. And this is where suffering begins, when there is identification with something in the dream Because as you may have worked out, that everything in the dream, everything that's in appearance, in form, is always changing. So everything you think about yourself, feel about yourself, any ideas you have about anything, all things that you have, even though some things seem pretty permanent, are going to change into something else. So a really strong belief you have will eventually change. And this is where suffering begins, because there is an identification with something that cannot and will never be permanent. And you feel that like that's who you are. So of course you're going to suffer, because you cannot maintain who you want to be, and you cannot maintain the things outside of that, the world, to be what you want that to also be. So you cannot maintain yourself, and this is part of suffering. The full suffering is the identification with that, but the biggest part of that suffering is that everything's always moving, and you believe that it can be fixed. It can never be fixed. Nothing can be fixed, particularly who you are. But life is tricky, and life is really creative, because the way it creates is apparent cause and effect. So it creates someone that seems the same, someone that follows certain patterns and repeats those patterns. So you have a way of being, and so it seems like there is a solid you, but there really isn't. Everything you know about yourself, you are constantly changing. All information that you're receiving when you move to new places, new things, the information is updating the body, and it is changing and growing. And by the identification, by trying to be something fixed, you're stopping that natural flow. Who you truly are is that which knows everything. So that which knows the person that likes this or doesn't like this or wants this or doesn't want this. So you are that which knows that and the whole entire world. So it knows the person and it knows all things out there. And that knowing, that aliveness, that sense of presence is looking through these bodies at a world. But you aren't actually these bodies. It's quite a funky idea. And so really this has to be experienced, because I can't convince you of it. It has to be really seen that you are never, ever anything that's in movement. You are the presence, that sense of being that always is. So when you were 2, 3, you had this sense of presence, this sense of aliveness. And when you were younger, you weren't very identified, so it beamed. So you see children and they're beaming. And that's what... That's because there's no identification that's claiming to be that beaming presence. But then over time, more identification comes, and it almost feels like that presence gets sucked inside the body. And from the child that's, it's more, goes inward like that, because the energy is claiming to be something it's not. It's sucking in the presence, even though it ultimately can't. This is what it feels like it's doing. The identification is saying, I am this, I am that. I am this body, I am my likes, I am my dislikes. I have to have this. My life has to look a particular way. And the whole time, it's like that energy is closing down. But that presence never belonged to you. That presence was always everywhere, and the you was appearing in that presence. And that's who you truly are. You're not the person. And so when I'm talking, I might be really confusing you, but even in that confusion, I'm sure a lot of you can taste what I'm saying. Even if you can't understand it, you know what I'm saying. You know about this presence. You know about this aliveness. You know that there is something beyond you, and you remember this awakeness. You remember this immediacy of being alive. You could call it love. You remember it from childhood, and you remember it from times in your life where it's just broken and there's been this love. And it's not a feeling of love. It's not a feeling of I love you, I'm in love with you. It's the presence. It's who you truly are. And this isn't a logical teaching that I can teach that makes sense. It's a deconstruction of an illusion. I had this really interesting experience the other night in a dream, and afterwards when I was reflecting on it, it kind of reminded me of this subject. So in my dream, so I'm sure everyone knows lucid dreaming. I have done it before, but not very often. But a few nights ago, it happened, and I woke up in the dream. So I was dreaming, and I woke up in the dream as the character. So Lisa, the character in the dream, woke up. And I was saying to myself, oh, I'm in a dream. Oh, this is funny. I've woken up in my dream. This is really funny. And so then I could imagine, obviously, anything I wanted in the dream as that person, or I could do anything I wanted as that person. But it was really funny because it wasn't me as this Lisa that woke up. It was the character that woke up. Do you know the difference? Like it was the Lisa inside the dream. So it wasn't this one that woke up, like this one that was dreaming the dream. It was the character. So the character was walking around the dream going, oh, I'm in a dream. This is really funny. But it was only something I knew in the dream. It wasn't the actual dreamer that woke up. Like so I, as this Lisa, didn't know it. And this is what happens with intellectual understanding, that you can understand this intellectually in this dream. But it's not you that wakes up. It's you that dreams the you. It's that which knows that person that's walking around. So you can walk around Tira and be like, oh, I'm in a dream. This isn't real. And that's true in one level. But that's not the person that wakes up. It's that which is behind it. It's that which knows that person. And that presence that wakes up can never know it's woken up as such. It can express it in a character. It just is awake. So if the true Lisa woke up in my dream, I wouldn't suddenly speak in my dream and go, I'm awake in my dream. I would just know that I was awake in my dream. And my character could say, oh, the true dreamer's woken up. I'm not really this character. But the true dreamer couldn't speak in the dream because me, this person, can't speak in my dream at night. I can speak through different objects, but I can't actually speak. It would be like the voice of God. And even if the voice of God spoke, that still wouldn't actually be me. It'd be like, hello, this is the real Lisa speaking. And I've woken up. But that might be really complicated. You know, I see a lot of eyes like... But if any of you have ever woken up in a dream, maybe you have a sense of what I'm talking about. So what I'm trying to say is it's not an intellectual thing that you guys get. It's a knowing that's so deep and way beyond that. It's this presence that knows itself again. So this really isn't intellectual. So why do you speak, Lisa? Well, I just like speaking. It just comes out. I'm like... I would like to say it's because I imagine saving all these people, but it just doesn't work, that idea. Like sometimes before a talk, I'm like, okay, so you're going to communicate this information to everyone. Then I'm like, oh, where's my tea? It doesn't feel like that because you only ever have this moment. And even if I tell myself that I'm going to save people or give people really important information, I'm still more interested in the feeling of the seat on my bum than the actual thought of, I will save someone. It's so ethereal. Even though I like that idea, then I'm interested in the drink again. But it comes from such a passion and such a knowing, and you can feel it when I'm actually speaking about this subject. You can feel that passion because it's not actually the character that's saying it, even though it's saying it through the character. Yeah, well, not the greatest analogy. You see, all of you know this. All of you know you're not that character. You all do. You're sitting there like, woo. So if anyone would like to ask a question to clarify a few things, although that was incredibly clear. Yeah. Thanks.
Hi, Lisa.
Hey. What's your name?
I'm Sasha.
Sasha.
I just knew that I would ask a question, but I didn't know the question before. So.
Take your time, by the way. I'm not being sarcastic there. I really mean it. Like, it's okay. However long it takes for it to pop. Even if we're here 2 days later, no one will mind. I'm joking.
When you were seeking,
Yeah.
As far as I remember, you went to a lot of different teachers.
Yeah.
Did it ever confuse you to go to 2 teachers at the same time?
At first, but then my mind became very agile at going between. What used to happen at first was that I used to want to be able to get my flag out and be like, there, right. I am right. So I wanted to be able to find the position. And that was very attractive because when I started when I started really getting into non-duality, what was very popular in London was Neo-Advaita. And I really love Neo-Advaita. I think sometimes it's considered a bit of a bad word in Advaita, but I love it. It's really beautiful. And so it comes sometimes with a little bit of arrogance from the seekers that's like, yes, we have got the final teacher, the right teacher. And so I used to have that little stance a little bit. But then that eventually gets knocked out. Your mind begins to get humbled. You realize that how many ever concepts you get or whatever you take on, you can't stop it as such from that. So life humbles you. So my problem wasn't the confusion. My problem was that I wanted to be with the right teacher.
What my mind seems to do these days is let's say what life seems to be trying to show me is that there are no teachers.
Totally.
And, it's a bit weird because I have been it has been quite important for me to be with the right teacher, and the mind has been very arrogant about that too.
I think everyone's a little guilty of it. It's not just you and me. It's nice, the idea of rightness.
Yeah, and then when this kind of information shows up, when I'm being shown that maybe there are no teachers, it comes with quite some anger on the teacher, like, why did you pretend to be a teacher?
It's just to do with mummy and daddy stuff. It's to do with you've projected that saviour out there, and that they're going to look after you.
It feels like that somehow.
Yeah. It's great, and anger towards God as well.
Yeah, somehow. It's even maybe it's most difficult with the mountain for me, because it has been an important teacher, if you want to say. Yeah, I would say that somehow.
Yeah. It's really to do with the mind rebelling against the mum and dad, because you get this idea that you've got these 2 people that unconditionally love you. So you feel, because they've got genetic makeup, which is to put you as number 1. And then as you get older, they obviously don't put you at number 1 so much. And so then when you get into a teacher or a guru, the mind does it to them. And that's why often you'll see a teacher put up, and then normally they have a sex scandal, and then everyone gets out the tomatoes. And it's like, bad teacher. It's not anything to do with the sex scandal. It depends how bad the sex scandal is. But if it's just sleeping with the students, that is because you have this relationship of mother or father with the teacher. And it's not saying that teacher's not being really profound, but there is no teacher, and this is such an important realization. there is life, and life is the teacher because that's who you truly are. There's not one particular teacher. Life is speaking through everything. But the reason that we often want teacher or guru is because we want to stay in that unconditional love in the human form. And that is impossible because human on the human level, there is no unconditional love. We live in a system of bartering, and we deny this because we're so horrified and scared and petrified of this. So we make gods out of all these teachers to try to believe that there's unconditional love in the human form. But the unconditional love is the nature.
Yeah, that kind of parent thing does show up at the same time, so that makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah, so it's really, I went through the period. Mine was mainly towards God. It was towards my parents a bit, but towards God. Like the anger towards God for abandoning me.
Yeah, it does also feel like anger towards the whole world, you know. Yeah. It's not giving me what I want, this kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's a bit scary sometimes.
Totally. And this is where it's becoming... This part of the message is about coming to totally stand in your own on the human form. Because we're sort of pushed out into this world. We don't really ask to be alive. And then we're told, okay, go out there, you're 18 now, go out there and make a career and make your money and live your life, and you've got everything and you've got to be happy. And all of us are like, oh, especially in the West. In India, it's a little bit more set as to what you do and where you go. But in the West, we're given so many choices now and so many ideas. We're all so overwhelmed by what to do. So then it's so easy then to latch on to Advaita, non-duality, a teacher, to actually stay in a child role.
There is...
Sorry, guys. I'm going to get shot soon. Although stay hooked to me, otherwise I'll go broke.
There is this feeling that what you speak about does become present in the form of this aliveness, or in the form of love, or in the form of consciousness, and it kind of wants to push through, but it cannot, because the character is not set up for that yet. It's not strong enough to take it.
It is. It just feels that. It feels like you'll fall to bits and that you're afraid. It's okay. You can. Because you every bit of the character which feels like it can't take it is actually the divine.
It feels like what you said, that this playing the child role towards the teacher, this kind of conditioning stands in the way.
Yep.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yep. So I can show you an exercise, but just be aware whenever I show exercises, like I try to be as clear about all of this stuff as possible to not let the mind go there. So when I give you exercises, it's not about using this exercise to get to the divine. This is just a spontaneous exploration. It's not something to get hooked to. It's not something as the new thing. It's just something to explore. And this is what happened in the process of me, was that I began to take it backwards. So when something happened, so say if or a teacher rejects you in some way, or there's something they do which you don't like, then you can take it directly back to what you feel underneath that. And I would be pretty sure that it will either be anger to the mother or father for not giving you the unconditional love, or to God for not giving you that unconditional love and for being abandoned. And you just directly step back. So you've got to do it from the most fickle level. So say if I annoy you, which is highly unlikely, but say if I do, you've got to step it back. So for something I do, there's some way I behave, there's something that like it feels like a dart to you, and say it's another speaker, whoever, just step down slowly. So start at the most fickle, the bitch. And you're allowed to say this stuff. You're allowed to say the dark stuff. We always get into spirituality, we're not allowed to admit the dark stuff, it's bad. But just for this exercise, you can admit the dark stuff. So start out with what you don't like about me or about any spiritual speaker that's done something which has hurt you. So step back so you go, first of all, the most fickle, what you don't like about them, and then try to get underneath that. And I don't know how to exactly explain how to get underneath it. It's sometimes easier if I demonstrate it. Like if I speak it out and show you the process. But you could do many things to turn it around. You could turn it onto yourself and see if you think that about yourself. Or you can just say, what's underneath that? What feeling is underneath the hatred? What do they make me feel underneath that particular annoyance? Is there someone you're thinking about that's made you feel?
Like right now?
Yeah.
No, it's a bit difficult.
Or maybe Aaron Atchler.
No,
No, harder.
Sitting here, I'm a bit... it's a bit difficult to focus on these things.
Yeah.
I think it's good if the next time it happens, I just try to sit with that.
Yeah, and keep stepping underneath. So keep going down. And so you go first of all to what's deeper than the annoyance. So maybe that'll be fear. And then you step down underneath the fear. And then eventually bring in the image of your mother and father and something they've done. Or you could bring God, but we'll go for the mother and father. Mm-hmm. So something they did to you to make you feel vulnerable, to make you not feel like a man, or to make you feel debunked. Something that you're annoyed about, and then speak that out and allow that anger to come. And you'll actually notice how similar it is towards the teacher. You'll notice that there's similar annoyance. And then once you've done it to the parents, you can then go to God. How much you hate God, which is yourself, for basically kicking you out of Eden. Which is what it feels like your parents do as well. Because for the first couple of years, until you're old enough to look after yourself, when they're like, oh, thank God. Like when you're 5 and they don't have to be running around after you all the time, the first couple of years, they're set up to give you 100% of their attention, normally. Some don't. And then they're so exhausted by the time you're 6, they're so glad when you want to play by yourself. Like, okay.
Yeah, I think I'd rather more too much attention than too little.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just when you spoke, it came up that, why is she telling me that? I know all that already.
Yeah.
So this kind of thing just came up. It's just an example.
Okay, so that's great. So that, you can relate back to the parents, I'm sure, really well, especially if you have parents that were overbearing and gave you too much attention. You can take that back very quickly. He's like, no, I already know that. Nope.
Yeah, it's like receiving something that I think I don't need.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Yeah. But this is great, and I really appreciate your honesty. So please go with it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it does come often. At some point, at first I'm fascinated with the teacher.
Yeah.
And then it comes like, what the hell? I know this, all this stuff. I've known this.
Yeah. And then, but then the fear of being by yourself will most probably keep making you go back to it. There's lots of games that will play.
Yeah, it has not happened that the mind did not search for, not even unconsciously search or go to another teacher. But it always happens again. No?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess just trying to stop that, it's not going to make sense.
Going to the next teacher.
Yeah. Or what is your feeling?
Just having a good old feel there. Well, do you want to go deeper into it? I have to ask you some questions if you want to go deeper into it.
Yeah, we can try.
Okay, we can try. So, have you cut off from your parents now? Like, not cut off as in, like, you speak to them and stuff like that, but have you cut off from them? You've moved away from them?
You mean, like, physically?
Physically, financially, emotionally?
Yeah, I think emotionally is a bit difficult. It's more like there has been a cutting off, but the emotional binding is still living in the rejection, if you understand what I mean. You know, when you reject someone, there's still quite some pull there also. So
Pull back to them. So you've rejected them and they're still...
yeah, I just noticed that there's no peace with the relationship. But I have rejected them quite a while ago. But I just feel, because they keep on coming back to me on an emotional level, the same way, and it happens at the same time as this teacher thing is going on.
Yeah.
So I noticed this.
Yeah. And they would like more attention from you?
Yes.
And do you go and do that out of guilt?
Yes, I do, yeah.
Imagine if they didn't want any attention from you at all and that they rejected you. How would that make you feel?
Not good either.
What would you feel from it?
Very difficult to imagine and describe. Actually, I notice I cannot fully imagine the complete rejection. It's not possible. It's like some energetic connection is. I cannot imagine it to be cut. So I guess if I cannot imagine it, there must be something in me that still wants it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, some sort of completion.
Just to let it all stay and let it come. Just take your time over this. So this is exactly the same as what you'll be playing with a teacher. Even if you go from teacher to teacher.
So, even if my mind claims that I want some teaching or, say, some wisdom, I actually want attention or completion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally.
So what to do?
Oh, you're doing it. It's beautiful. It's being exposed. It's kind of crazy because what's led you to this is love and wanting the attention and wanting safety. So that's what's led you to this subject. But this subject is beginning to undo that and making you see that you're something much vaster, much bigger than that. I think I said this a few days ago about a quote that I once heard about the teacher and the student, and how this teacher said, when I know that they fully understood what I've said, they just walk away, they don't say thank you, and they don't give me any reverence or respect, because it's got nothing to do with the teacher. It's just this illusion has to play out, and you have to play out your illusions.
When you said that last time, that was very meaningful to me, that sense of there's not even someone to be thankful. It's very strange, but...
Because this is everybody's brain maze. This reality is everybody's brain. This is a projection of your brain. So you set up the game of something you lose, and so you have the cut-off from wholeness, and then in the first couple of years, you set your game as to what you seek for and the particular patterns in the way you seek for it. It's not even you purposely do it, it just gets set up like that. And the whole world is you running around inside your brain in a way, because it's a projection of the brain, trying to look for home. Whereas home is that which never left. And so everything will point out that illusion. And it's got nothing to do with the Lisa character here. This is you speaking, just like in your dream at night. You're doing the whole thing.
The mind can accept this story about that I told before myself, like this idea that seeing that there is no teacher, but it still feels embarrassed by the other fact that it has played this game just seeing the teacher as a parent. That is still quite painful, like embarrassing.
Yeah. And so totally allow that feeling to come up. There's ultimately no embarrassment in it, and it's like when all of us realize our games, it feels like we're standing there in front of everyone naked suddenly, like our clothes have gone.
Yeah.
So it's like, oopsie, I've been playing that, have I? And there was me imagining you were God, like the divine in a form. And but it's totally okay. You're allowed to feel those feelings. Just let them come up. This doesn't mean you have to stop the spiritual search, but now you begin to understand that there was nothing outside of you. Ever. You're inside your brain projection, looking for home in your brain projection. I'm sorry, I know that sounds really odd, brain projection, but what I mean is that the brain projects the reality. There is no difference between what it sees, the brain, and what it sees. So every brain interprets this world differently. You could see it as one big brain in a way. And presence is using that brain in order to experience itself. You could say it so many different ways.
For some reason today, my mind cannot listen to the Advaita talk.
Oh, that's really good actually.
It's like it's just closed. I mean, today is like Sunday.
keep having this image, you know, when you try to keep your butter on top of a potato, you know, a hot potato, a little potato. You keep trying to get the butter to stay on top, and then it's like, whoop, whoop, whoop. But don't worry, it's actually good that your brain can't hear it. Just let the feelings come up. I'm just like the bird, like outside, like, ba, 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 ba. Now you're truly hearing me. Because there's no meaning to anything.
Well, now the mind starts to want to bring back the Advaita thinking. It was too much. I think I have become quite attached to these Advaitic words in the past years.
Yeah.
And it's quite a conditioning. And now it comes back. Now it wants to claim that there is something about that. Huh? Maybe just a little.
Yeah. Well, something and also something not. I mean, it is relevant to an extent, talking about Advaita. It's like, I couldn't just come into the room and be like, ba, 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 really. There's a relevance to it until there's not. You go through all these phases and then suddenly language is all irrelevant. Well, you believe you're someone, then it's very relevant. When it's totally seen, then it's irrelevant.
Now there is some sadness coming up.
Yeah.
Like having to leave something behind.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
But I think it's the parents, actually.
Actually, it's two different things. On the human form, it's becoming totally a man. And on the absolute form, it is the dropping of the belief that you are all those things. So in the expression of it, is becoming truly a man in the world and in the movement of things. And on the other side, it is the loss of all things. It's like to totally grow up. Because actually none of us need to be taught this. We always knew it. Then we talked ourselves into a false reality. It's really, really scary to really, really leave the parents behind. Most of us don't do it. We go and find ourselves, our partner, which reflects back our mother or father. Teacher, a teaching, where we hope that we'll get that unconditional love from, and that safety.
That's really hard to accept.
Yeah, yeah. You'll feel a power begin to come, and that power is you coming back. It's not even really you, but I'll just say it in dualistic terms, is you coming back to center. I sometimes, it's like I was going to say the animal comes back. It's like the strength comes back as well. This is all in the human form.
Yeah, it does feel like that. I've had that happening like this last year, some of this kind of topics, and it seems that for this to happen it was very important to be identified as a human being.
Yeah.
Because the Advaita talk would just keep that down and just identify with concepts or consciousness or whatever.
Yeah.
So now having these two things happening at the same time is quite weird.
Yeah. What the Advaita, the absolute, and at the same time on the human form becoming a man. You mean this?
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. But the thing is as well, you're identified. While that identification happens, you can't be truly human. So it's like waking up on the relative level makes you become truly human. It's really not about avoiding being human. We hoped it was.
Now there's, it comes up that I'm taking too much attention and it's kind of, I'm not deserving that much attention for this to happen.
Yeah. And just so your mind, you have to feel that and let that feeling come up as well. But just on the practical level, I will say if I feel like it's enough on the practical level, but just allow that feeling to come. you really get left with nothing. You know, you hear all the teachers saying that this is about emptiness or nothing and everything. And it really is about coming back to nothing. Who you truly are is not a thing expressing itself as all things, looking through these human forms.
It feels like still having to allow to be something in order to be able to become nothing.
Yeah. It just has to be seen what's not true, and then the energy will stop going into it. And so these are the lies underneath that I keep talking about when I say be honest. So these lies that you build up this story in your head that you're going for enlightenment and this special thing, and it has to happen like this. And then eventually over time you realize there's the same patterns playing out again and again. And true enlightenment is coming home to this still presence that was always there, and that your storylines weren't ever true. They were all made of fiction. And you can work out all those storylines in all the films and TV and books and novels there are. All of them will reflect back another part of you. Of these different characters and roles you take on. None are true. And this body will always have that patterning, even if there is the collapse of that belief that you are someone. So it's going to have its particular patterning. So if you had too much attention as a child, you'll be more than likely reserved from humans rather than really interactive. So that might be the patterning, but it's the suffering is the belief that you are someone in time, and the happiness comes, and love and completion comes from fulfilling these deep unconscious games. And you will see those games everywhere, in seeking for enlightenment, in your lover. You won't want to admit that because this one's really special and different. Really different. This one's an enlightened relationship. And then after a while you'll be like, same. Same, but different. And you can just notice it by what the mind is saying, in the positive and the negative, what it's doing. And then just keep coming back to this honesty of what's underneath. It's beautiful. I see this as the most beautiful subject, even though in one way you could say it's no subject. And there's that famous seeing when you see the Buddha kill the Buddha, it's like the teachings aren't real, but it's so beautiful. It's the art of deconstruction until invisibility. This is a world made of not a thing found in this world. If it was a thing found in this world, then it would be a world of separation.
Can I ask you a completely different question?
Okay.
Just very short.
Okay.
What do you think your Enneagram type is?
I get told lots of things. Okay. 3, 7.
Doesn't matter.
Just normally 3 or 7, I think people tell me. Or 1 or 2. They're pretty sure I'm not 4. We had the funniest thing with this lady the other day. Maybe she's listening actually. This really lovely lady that comes to my talks in London, and she was doing a reading for me of a different system, and she did the reading, and it fitted like a glove. We were both like, "Wow, that's just like you. That's amazing!" And we were sat there talking and laughing about it, and then we realised we had the wrong date of birth in. And so she goes to this thing and doesn't know that I thought this. But then she put in the right date of birth, and then it came up with a different breakdown of me, and we were both sat there like, huh. And both of us are trying to make it fit, but we both knew it didn't fit. We were like, yep, okay. Yep. That was very funny.
It's actually very funny because just yesterday I said, I'm sure she's a 4.
Oh, really?
So that's...
Oh, no, I'm really not.
Good. No, it doesn't matter, but it's good to hear that.
I've really not had the life of love affairs. Like it's a romantic. It's really not this personality. I'm romantic about this stuff as in it's all about love, but on the dramatic lover, I'm not. Just about this subject, so maybe. But maybe I've got that wrong about what that is. I've never really read it. It's just what people tell me.
It's just nice to hear that I'm completely wrong in that. It's just a system that the mind likes to play with.
Yeah, and sometimes it can be helpful, these different systems and understanding. Nice. Thank you. Sure.
Hello.
Hey.
Can I take a few seconds?
Yeah. Just when you speak again into the mic, though, can you pull it towards you?
It's too much. Is it okay? Okay. Even though it looks alright and nice.
I think I can have the quality of a monkey sometimes. So sometimes, like when these things happen with the movement of the microphone, I'm like. Everyone's like.
Today I'll try not to project my savior image on you.
My what? Your what?
My savior image.
Oh, yeah?
I saw that last time. And maybe 2-3% is still I'll do. But
2-3 people you'll do it to,
2-3%
but not... Oh, percent.
Still do.
I thought you meant 2 or 3 other people you will, but not me anymore.
I have 2-3 questions.
Yep.
I want to ask the first one. I just need a few seconds.
Yeah, sure, please take your time.
There is something in the seat. Really.
You want to sit somewhere else?
No, I'm fine. Okay. I have been struggling, like there is a deep yearning in here for realization, and like for past 1 decade, like I've been going through everything that I could put my hands on.
How old are you?
I'm 32. So I have been like, I went to Vipassana for a few years, went through many retreats, then got into non-duality, read many books, did a lot of inquiry and everything, and it has helped me a lot. But one thing that developed over a period of time, like I think it was in 2009, a deep fear, even though there is a deep yearning for realization, but at the same time there is such a tremendous deep fear of the realization.
Yeah. Do you know, it's actually not even your fear of it. What happens is that the waking up, so that collapse begins to happen, and then the fear arises. It's not even belonging to anyone, because the body is so used to having a separate identification and a location for itself. Fear arises as it begins to open. So fear is a very good sign. It automatically generates fear. So that's why I suppose they often call it the dark night of the soul, and it's not actually anybody's. It's just that on the opposite side of it, the body is afraid that it's going to die. And so it's quite common for people to get heart palpitations or a feeling of dizziness, sickness, because it feels like you're losing your center. As you begin to strip more and more away, what's left of you, what is looking, and then that energetic movement happens to everything looking, which is totally an energetic thing. Like you sometimes, if you smoke a lot of weed, the fear comes because you suddenly feel like your center or your gravity is completely shifted, and then you go into the panic from smoking a lot of weed. So whenever I talk about drugs, I'm really not recommending them. I do think that long-term drug use damages your brain. Like I'm not sure of all the drugs, but I certainly know from when I tried a lot of LSD. I think that I noticed after that the brain had to go through a period of recovery. So I'm not saying do those sorts of things to have these experiences, but I'm sure everybody has smoked a lot of weed at one point or another, or taken a hit on the bong that was way too big.
I have. I'm planning to actually.
Oh, you're... And then all of us are like... But it knocks your center. But it's an illusion that there's a center. And this is so clear when you do drugs. It's a total illusion. So what happens when this process, when you're listening to this subject and when you're investigating who you are, the body is automatically generating fear when the shift begins to happen. And often the fear makes a lot of people run away from it. They think it's not working. This isn't what should be happening. Or they feel like it's driving them crazy because it's so intense. This is why the story of the Buddha, which we like to hear as a romantic story, but he sat under the Bodhi tree and Maya presented itself as heaven and hell. And we think that's so romantic, the hell side of things, and you have images of warriors and wars and blood and beheading. But that's not the hell. The hell is the sensations that are produced by those images, the feelings. And what it means by Buddha sat under the Bodhi tree, not him, but the Buddha is the Buddha nature. The presence didn't move. There was a grounding in that. Because that's who you are, no matter what appears. It's right here, the freedom, inside everything that appears. The body sends out that sensation.
In here, one belief that has been operating for many years is that until this this fear is gone, until this happens, the realization cannot come.
Yeah.
And I feel so helpless over it. Like in general, I don't feel fear.
No. Sorry. No, this is going back to childhood. Okay. So your mind likes feeling victim to things. So you now feel victim to the fear. When you were a kid, you felt victim to... Sorry to be so pushy, but who were you victim to as a kid?
My childhood was like heaven, like maybe 10 or 11. Maybe after that, some teachers. After 10 or 11, one teacher, especially, she punished me for no reason every day. And then later on in school, a lot of bullying. I went to a boys' hostel, so there I went through 1 year was like a complete nightmare. Like 15 guys, all trying to bully me all the time in the hostel. We were living in one big dormitory room.
Yeah.
So, I think, like with the teen, I started, my suffering started multiplying.
Yeah.
But what that has to do with this?
Oh, because the fears just become your new bully.
Pardon?
Your fear just becomes, the idea of fear just becomes your new bully. Just becomes your new thing that you're victim to. It's just all projections of the mind. So you've taken a feeling now that you're victim to. It's just not true. that story that you tried to tell me isn't true. It's the same feelings. You're now afraid of the fear rather than the bullies.
I mean, I feel like when finally the realization will come, I try to look into it, like what really it is that makes me fear.
Yeah.
Because
and
intellectually I know that this will be the best thing that could happen.
And did you go through therapy for that bullying?
Yeah, I did a lot of, because I was filled with so much of hatred for those boys, as well as for the teacher, and for so many people I was so filled with hatred. And but after that, I got into, already Course in Miracles, and also Vipassana. So these two systems I applied over a period of years. Like I don't have anything against any of them.
Yeah.
Like I know for sure, like it is not. They were not responsible for it, and so I don't have anything, at least on my conscious level. I don't know subconsciously what's going on. But when I think of them,
a lot of stuff. So on the bodily level, and the work is to victim being perpetrated. So now you're victim to the fear.
I'm so much a victim to fear.
Yeah.
Like I told you, this like this is fear is like the one issue that I have is fear.
Yeah.
And it comes in so many ways. Like it's but most of this stuff, like I feel like okay, it comes and then it goes. It comes and it goes.
Yeah.
But with this fear of realization, and other thing is that I feel like until I let go of it, how is it going to happen? Because until I let go of this fear.
And in your day-to-day life, do you experience a lot of fear from the flow?
From this realization fear?
No, just in the flow, like just from other people.
Like it's like for me, it's like a sine curve. Like I go to really good places, and then I go to really fearful states. Depending on some, like many times I feel like I've been able to handle the situation in an appropriate way.
Yeah.
But many times I just get so helpless over it.
Yeah.
And all my non-dual teachings, everything I try to apply, and it just goes like this.
And have you ever looked into I forget what it's called, but do you take supplements? Have you like you're eating and supplements like
I know supplements, herbal supplements.
Yeah. Have you looked into anything that you're lacking in your blood or anything like that?
Yeah, I did had a check. I mean, it was for some other reason, but I found that vitamin D is less.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't go in sun much.
Yeah.
So, and the doctor actually told me that this can create even depression, and I was actually, for no reason, I was feeling deep sadness from time to time.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether it was because of vitamin D or what. So I did take that supplement after that.
Because I would go and get all those things checked out as well, but on that level, on the physical level.
Okay.
But on the fear level, then this is what you have to keep exploring, is that fear. But you're not victim to it.
Like how can I explore into this fear of realization? That's what I'm not able to. Like different kind of fears I can explore.
It's the same as all others. It's the same as fear as bullies. It's the same. Fear is fear. It's the same thing. It's just a sensation. Well, I say just. I mean, fear is like, but it's a sensation that's coming up strongly. Now your mind's associating with fear of disappearing, of not being there.
I'm really don't know, because in sleep I disappear, but I'm not scared of that.
Yeah.
And there is a part of me which is dying for that realization. And it's so paradoxical. Like there is a one part which is ready to give up everything for that, and then there is other part which is trying to run away like anything from that. And I feel like that this fear I'm stuck with for last, I think, since 2009.
Okay, so let's go into the body now. What does your body feel like now?
Right now it's normal.
No fear?
No. Like this fear is not all the time with me. Like it comes from time to time. Whenever my mind senses that something is coming, which might lead to realization instantly in the very next.
So what does your body feel like now? Just describe what it's feeling like.
When I came here that time, I was feeling some anxiety and some little bit of restlessness. But right now, I'm just
Okay,
fine.
so just fine. So now just see what thought process is going on in your mind. Just watch them for a moment. You don't need to say them, just watch for a moment while we shut our eyes.
Actually, nothing.
It's okay.
Thought is coming. What should I ask next?
Okay, so just let them run for a little bit. And see what sort of things they say. What are they saying?
Like when I try, right now I try to remember like one of the situations where I really felt that fear of realization because I sensed something that I felt could put me in a state of, not me, but that realization could happen. And I see it deep, like my heart started beating so fast when it happened.
Yeah, but I think that you've just conned me.
Pardon?
I think you've gone into save me again.
Okay.
I think we've gone into that game. And I went with it for a little while.
Yeah, I think.
I'm joking when I say con me. You can't con me, but I think that you've gone into wanting to be saved.
See that.
Okay, so you're now victim of the fear, and you need someone to save you from it. So you were victim to these other people, and you weren't saved from it. And now you're victim to the fear, and you're not saved from it. Just let it come. Let all those sensations come up. The mind is such a sneaky little bugger. It's always on the play. Everybody's playing these games. When I catch you, there's no if embarrassment comes, but this is just what the mind does. It's like always wanted to play its games. It'll slip into them as quickly as it can to feel comfortable, to get what it wants. I suppose that's why they call it a snake in Indian culture. It's not that the snake is evil or bad, but the way that it moves so gently and effortlessly into what it wants. Do you see what you did? It's not you that did it, and you've done nothing wrong, but you see what the mind did. So you want someone to save you from the fear. This is all about a process on the human level of being honest.
Yeah. I've been running from teacher to teacher, telling everyone about this fear.
Really, you're still waiting for someone to save you from the bullies. You are that strength, that power. You are the creator. You're not weak. You're not victim to me. You're not victim to anyone. You're not helpless. You are that presence that's shining through, that birthright. You are the creator, not a weak person that needs help and love. This is the illusion. And it will play in any way it can. It will sneak in any way it can to be someone. There is nothing you need to be loved. You are love. And you can contain that fear. Presence doesn't reject that fear. Okay, thank you, sweetie. I'll speak to someone else before the end.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for being so honest and open.
And I just want to share one comment.
Yeah.
I saw that I'm doing this not just with this fear, but I've been actually doing it like whenever some issue comes, like some really strong issue comes. Like normal issues I can handle on my own, but like something which I feel it's beyond my, and I keep looking for friends or teachers or somebody. Like I see that I'm actually trying to, see them as like they are going to get me out of it.
Get them
It's
to
so
save
stressful.
you. Yeah,
Thanks so much.
good pleasure. Yeah. I think that's 8 minutes.
Okay. I'll be quick then. So, there we go. So in my life, I've been feeling like that fabric of Leela, like the divine play, kind of like the fabric of Maya is kind of like,
Yeah.
and so a lot of things become kind of ridiculous. And in doing like karma yoga, doing work that's not paid. I feel great. I feel like the divine just flowing through me. There's no sense of myself.
Yeah.
But then as soon as I have to switch into making money, like actually taking payment, then I notice that I start to have a separation of myself. And there starts to be expectations heavier on my client's side and also from my side.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is serious now,
Yeah.
And then that starts suffering.
Yeah.
So I was...
Well, that's it's quite simple. What happens is that when, more than likely, although I should let you explore it, rather than tell you. Yeah. I'll just say. So it's more than likely that there is a sense of feeling. So money becomes like a human almost, in a way, that you've put up there, and it's saying that you're not good enough in some way. Like before, when you didn't have money, when the money wasn't involved, you did as much as you want and you gave as much as you want. And then when money comes into play, you suddenly have got this idea of responsibility of what you have to be. So suddenly there is this person that comes in. But I have to let you come to this yourself. You have to feel that, and you'll have personified money almost into an authority figure to you, like something that now you're in relationship with in a way, and that you're imagining other people's expectations of you and of yourself. And so it's simply, it's money is only energy. It's like trade. It's saying that you've given this much energy, so now you can go and spend that much energy. And I'm not saying that our society does money fairly. Money in our society is used by identification. But in your case, you have to go into that feeling of how it makes you feel, like the pressure that it puts on you for what you expect yourself to be. Because even if your clients put more pressure on you, that's still down to them. That's their idea about money. It's then that you take it on board. Because really, ultimately, there's one dance of energy, so nobody's really being paid for anything. Like it's energy that comes and goes. But it's such a huge subject, the money subject, for everybody, because it's connected to survival and worth, self-worth. So survival, what's going to feed you, shelter you, and then it's the worth that we put on our jobs in society. You have to be worthy of it. So there's huge things. But you'll have made it an authority figure in your mind. You'll have split it off and made it this judgment to you.
That's really helpful. Yeah, because I see it. I could play with that a little bit more.
Yeah. But just go into the feeling so as soon as the money idea comes in, go into that feeling which it creates. Like just keep going deeper into it. So you get the image of money and then you feel that pressure that's put on you of what you have to be or the expectations, and then just feel what that pressure does to your body. Discover where in your body you're tensing up, and then see if you can talk to it a bit. What do I want from this? What do I feel out of this? What's being taken from me? What's being given to me? You could see money in another way, in a positive light, as a really beautiful thing, that you're doing this work for free and then somebody's rewarding you. Like you're doing it for free and then someone's like, woof, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, I like that. That's great. Thank you so much.
Oh, pleasure. I've got 2 minutes if anyone wants 2 minutes. We can maybe extend a little bit. I think you're so adorable. It's really beautiful. It's really beautiful. Every so often it catches my hand, I'm like, woohoo! These like little boats. Very nice. Oh. So really this is about coming home, and I speak a lot about psychology tonight, but the psychology, or speaking about the psychology, is just showing what the seeker is doing, what you're actually looking for. In all your actions, you'll realize that you're trying to avoid fear and you're trying to get to love. Now, there is nothing wrong with that movement, but when you believe that fear takes away wholeness and love gives you wholeness, this is when you suffer. But there's actually nothing wrong with the sensation of fear or the sensation of love. So when you do something nice for someone, you get the sensation of love, like a nice feeling of love about it. There's nothing wrong with those feelings coming up. You don't need to be dead or not feel them. It's that we place freedom in these feelings. So we place freedom, and we're so unconscious about it, in getting love and avoiding fear. Never works. And we have all these patterns. Well, they're not that many actually, but they've been playing. You learnt them when you were very young, 4, 5, 6, maybe younger, and you play out those patterns in all different ways. It doesn't mean those patterns need to stop. It's just seeing them, noticing them, and as they get noticed, it will begin to be seen, or the energy will stop going there, that your freedom is found in the completing of those loops. So by getting love from someone will not complete you. Your completion has always been in the happening of everything. You know everything. You understand everything, not intellectually, but as yourself, which is right here. So remember the dream analogy, which everyone sort of ended up like, ooh, at the end of it. So remember how I described in my dream that in the dream I woke up, and I was the character that woke up. But if I'd woken up as Lisa, the actual dreamer of the dream, it just would have been known without anybody in the dream knowing it. I would have just known I was dreaming, and I would have known the answer to everything. I just would have known. So if you imagine that, so maybe you guys will have lucid dreams tonight. So if you imagine that the character inside the dream wakes up and knows that it's dreaming, and then there can be that you as the actual dreamer know you're dreaming. So then as that, you know everything and you're totally home. Anything that happens in the dream doesn't affect you. Even if that character, is in love or not in love, or fall down a pothole or in a bumpy rickshaw, whatever it is, the freedom is in the dream itself, that you are there in the presence. I don't know if that evokes any imagination, or is there a taste of that beyond yourself. If not, we've got another 5 or 6 or 7, oh no, I don't know, maybe 2, many more than that. So another 10 or 15 talks, I can't remember how many. I don't know where we are. So we can talk about it again.
11 more.
11 more talks. And if then you can watch online if you still want more after that. But your freedom is that which is looking at me now. And although I would love to sell myself and be like, you can buy it off me and give me all your money, I can't give it to you. Your freedom is that which looks at me. You don't need to ever get something again. Although getting might happen, there is no one that can give this to you. This is total, total unconditioned love. This is love speaking. Oh, what a dramatic ending. Can't help it. Thank you very much.